Hi everyone, happy Friday. Today is January the 3rd. My name is Anne-Marie Band and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We are taking a look at the hourly charts today into the trading session. We can see the buyers are clearly trying to defend 59.24. That's been a nice sideways trade. Buy at the 59.24, 59.25 area, stop about 4-5 points wide, target 59.38, 59.40, rinse and repeat. Okay, so what have we got? A generally sideways Keltner band. They're moving towards each other, right? So that means we've got downward pressure from above, upward pressure from below. Our moving averages are flat. In general, we're battling at the VWAP for the day. Yesterday's VWAP, 59.32. This is a bit of a noisy patch. And so what's my thought? My thoughts are because price action has sold off on every bounce, we're looking for another bounce that is going to sell off. Where might we be wrong in this estimation? That's at 59.46 or so. If we get up over that 59.47, we've got upside pressure that could take us all the way to 59.87 or thereabouts. But right now, we've got a box, right? And so this box is telling us, listen, I've got upside pressure from underneath, I've got downside pressure from above, and so that's going to leave us with lots of candlesticks that retrace each other. These lines that I've drawn, not a ton of them here, because the walk is very likely to the top of the range because things are so undulating in the general formation. Let's look at SPY. We know that 8 to 9 o'clock is that ideal space that we want to stare down. Also the same, pressure from above pushing us down, pressure from below pushing us up in a sideways patch between 8 and 9 o'clock. We should see the candlestick that helps us determine what the day is going to be like. For instance, on January the 2nd, you can see the 8 to 9 o'clock candlestick very wide. And we stayed inside of that candlestick until we lost the area at around 11. And then that bounce gave us another lower high. And it continued downward. So that 8 to 9 o'clock area is going to be very, very important for SPY as well. It does look sideways. Sellers likely to come in at around 591. Buyers trying to hold value area low at 584. If we cannot, we're going to rotate into the next lines of liquidity, 581.96 to 577. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. Whoops, that's not what I want. If we take a look at the NQ on the hourly chart, same sort of sideways motion, great range trading if you're into it, okay? Great range trading if you're into it. Bounces are very likely to be sell zones at the first pass. Getting up over 294, a pretty big deal. I mentioned a couple of days back that 21,127 or so was a breakdown area. You can see liquidity below that as well, looking very, very nice in general, telling us that we've got sideways pressure. Sorry, I have the door open to my lanai and I can hear traffic. All right, so I apologize for that. So far, my thought is we've got ourselves a fairly big sideways patch, but you could short at 21,275 and then, watch for it to break down. But below 21,200, we head back to value area low. Okay, very sideways. You want to wait for the break if you want to trade either the breakdown or the breakout from a momentum perspective. Inside this range, only great if you are very good at range trading, okay? Because that is what we're seeing. And look at how many hourly candlesticks are here. This was our 6 o'clock candle. We are above the high of that 6 p.m. opening candlestick formation. As long as we hold there, easily we bounce. Just all the bounces have been selling I just think that's a pretty good area for the bounce. The midnight candlestick that many of us look at, this one right here, is where we are staring down, and that is right in the middle of the close of yesterday's trading VWAP formation. And so that is going to make for pretty sticky motion, but being above the high of that opening candlestick formation suggests that we've got upside pressure. So dips are buy zones until they're not. All right, so watch for the break of 200, and that sends us down into 21,116 and 21,042. Let's take a look at the Qs. Qs, you can see, selling all of the dips, but we had a very strong bounce formation show at 505, and we are sitting right in the middle of VWAP, above the VWAP close of the prior day, below the VWAP close of Wednesday. That tells me it is very sideways, and you could see yourself really getting caught in the wicks here if you don't pay attention in general. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at the YN. A little bit more sideways than the others, right? We're seeing price compression like many of the others, and so we are looking for some sort of motion that should send us to the volume point of control. That's around 43,029, but I don't think it's going to be a straight up ride, simply because everything is caught up in this space right here. What do we have for economic releases today? We've got ISM manufacturing at 10 Eastern, and then nothing. Yeah, so pretty bland, but we could easily see this motion just move up sharply or move down sharply. It's just what we are looking at right now. Very, very sideways. Could we take a short up at the top of 43,216? Yes, we could. But since we are breaching that first hour of motion, my thought is pullbacks are going to give us buying formations in the current space. Momentum certainly is trying to hold, and so that's what we're staring down right now. Okay, a momentum event that says dips or buys. Where will we be wrong? Value area low break, 42,642 would make for another pretty good long with a stop. I don't know that you want it to be more than 20 points wide, right? That's about $100. So that's really what we're staring down in terms of overall motion. Price action dips should give us buy zones. We know we've got continued selling when we lose first this area at 42,700, and then it walks down into these deeper areas. Okay, today could be very noisy. Fridays have generally been bullish, but we've had a couple of them that have been really nasty. All right, let's take a look at micro Bitcoin. It broke the trend that we were staring down the other day. Pressure from underneath wins the day. We break out to a higher high, pull back to the VWAP of several days past. This looks like Tuesday's VWAP. And then, on the second here, it runs straight up into and outside of the value area high. Now, my suspicion is that this collapses back down and gives us this very noisy range here, because I do expect it to head lower. That being said, buyers are very keen on holding the floor, so shorting action really potentially might come in at this 98,500 zone. Let me put a marker right here. Right? 98,500. If it breaks to the north, pulls back, and then covers and continues higher, we've got ourselves all the way up to 99. In this case, though, pretty sideways and not really getting up over the opening candlestick formation, which suggests to me that we've got more downside pressure. Do you want to trade in this noise? I don't. You could easily, but if the moving averages are supporting you and you've got upside pressure, you have to wait for this formation to break down before you take a trade with confidence. All right. And to me, everything looks like buying the dip might be the order of the day in the near term. All right. Let's take a look now at oil. We talked about oil breaking. This was a big deal. I mentioned this on the daily formations. I said, hey, listen, once it gets up over this 70-ish area, we've got ourselves a formation that could look to go much higher. And right now, that's what we're continuing to do. So we've got a lot of oil things going on in the big picture. You know, my thought is that energies are going to pave the way. There are going to be some things that we can watch and make some really great money. At this juncture, let's go to the daily and take a look where. Look at this formation. This was the break that I mentioned, you know, several days past, coming out above the 70 zone, and then now all the way up at the volume, that's the VWAP, excuse me, at 73.50. Could this actually continue moving? Yes. Everything says dips or pullbacks. Everything says the dip is just a pullback that ought to give price action bigger upside pressure. So where might that be? Old resistance, new support. You might want to trade micro oil here because the dip could be savage. If we lose 72, we're back down at 71.40. And then if we get back down into 71.40, this whole range might be holding again. All right. And that is definitely something that we still need to keep our eyes on. It could be that we collapse all the way back down. Isn't my thought that we do? No, because the Keltners, both Keltner bands are pointing in the upward direction. So dips should be buying pressure. What did I just do right there? Don't have any idea. All right. So that's what we're staring down. Dips or buy zones. Value area high 72, going to give us that upside pressure bounce that we might be looking for there. So this is starting to look very bullish. Okay, let's take a look at gold. Gold did bounce off of the 2,600 level, right? It continues to move in tandem with the dollar, which I find to be remarkably interesting. So we will see what happens there, but this is quite bullish. Momentum, not so much, but it could be that it's just coming down into maybe Thursday's VWAP and then a push to the north that gives us more upside pressure. What do I like? The VWAP test here looks very clean, 26.40 to 26.25. Those are going to be good areas to move into this position at this juncture. They are breaking to the north, and if we draw ourselves our handy dandy boxes, right, we can see that we've got ourselves about 100% retracement right there onto the edge, right up and over. So a 50% retrace does look like 26.58 might be in line for us. All right, that felt like I was moving at the speed of dirt, but that's it. Getting back into the flow of things. I look forward to seeing everyone at the midday Moneyball report and also on the Benzinga Live options show. So take care, everyone. Have a good day, and I'll see you all soon.